this story that we thought was over has jumped back out in a very strange way. Now, you probably heard the name Antoine Davis over the course of the last couple of weeks. He was a guy that potentially could have broken the biggest record in all of college basketball. He was 4 points shy of breaking the all-time scoring record of Pistol Pete Maravich. And they lost in the Horizon League tournament. Their record was 14-18. They were hoping to get an invitation, or the school would want to pay their way into the CBI so he could play another game, and he could own the all-time scoring record. Except it didn't happen. They were not invited. And Antoine Davis did an interview today that was pretty shocking with a couple of things. He talked to the Associated Press. He was asked, how do you feel about not getting another chance to play and ending your career 4 points short of the all-time record in scoring in college basketball? And he said, quote, I'm upset about it. I feel like I got cheated out of something that they can't ever give back to me. I think it's selfish and weird that people called or emailed the CBI to say we shouldn't be in the tournament because they didn't want me to break the record. Now, this is kind of a couple of shocking things. You know, first Davis saying, I got cheated out of something they can't give me, and then that people emailed or called the CBI to say, don't let him and his Detroit Mercy team in. Now, the CBI did say, hey, we did get unsolicited emails and voicemails about Detroit Mercy saying we don't want Pete Maravich's record broken, but the decision we made wasn't based on whether we wanted him to break the record or not. So let's deal with that part of it first. First of all, yes, it's incredibly crappy that people would call and say, don't let him in, we don't want the record broken. What do you care? What do you care if the guy gets in or not? I mean, how does that hurt you? Oh, my goodness. How does that affect your life if they let him in the tournament and he breaks Pete Maravich's record? What is that? I mean, really. I mean, even some members of Pete Maravich's family say they love Antoine Davis. Hey, if he gets it, he gets it. But, you know, can you let a team at 14-18 into the CBI? Your season should be over. I kind of get that, right? But for people to call, that's the first part of it is, what the hell is wrong with you? You don't want to see the guy break an all-time record because it affects you how? How does this affect you? I don't understand. Tell me how this makes your life worse than it was. You just want to say, no, I don't want it because I don't want it. For whatever reason, that's something I agree. That's a load of crap, and that's got no place in anything. And hopefully the CBI wasn't swayed by, people calling saying we don't want Maravich's record broken.
Yeah, I think some of it goes down to if you're adding the supporting elements, and we'll get into those as we flow through, no doubt, as to how you would get to the point of breaking it, then I can understand it. If it's just in a vacuum, it's like, oh, we can't have this guy take down Pistol Pete's record. Well, that's just silly. But when you start taking in the accompanying stuff, the fact that they were 14-19 and they could pay their way into a postseason tournament, that's kind of problematic to me. Like that I understand. Don't let them pay their way in. This is silly. Because there was one discussion point where it was going to cost him, $27.5 to be part of a postseason tournament where he would need to score another 6 points or 5 points to break the record. Like when you start getting into that level of things, like, is it worth $27.5 to let this guy go break a record? Do we want to play that badly? Like, that's bad business. That's bad basketball and against the spirit of what you're trying to do. But if it's just in general, I like Pistol Pete and he deserves to keep this record forever, yeah, then you can beat it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Now that to me, that's the easy part of the conversation, because the tough part is that to hear Antoine Davis say, I felt like I got cheated out of something they can't ever give back to me. And I say, hang on for 1 second. I mean, just let's be real for a second. Maravich set his points record in 3 seasons. Okay? He played 3 seasons of college basketball. There was no three-point shot, and freshmen couldn't play. All right? 3,667 career points. This is Antoine Davis, who was 4 points shy of breaking it, and he played 5 years of college basketball because he got the extra year that everybody got for COVID. And for him to say, I was cheated out of this, I would say, dude, you had a long time to break this record. You needed 4 points short. It sucks. I get it. But to say you were cheated out of it is something they can't give back to you. You could have had a couple of better games. You had 5 years to get a record that someone took 3 years to make. And if you don't get it, I don't feel that awful for you. No. And for him to say I was cheated out of it, I'm like, dude, just say, I wish I could have done it. It really would have been something. It would have been great for me. But in the end, really, you had 5 years. I mean, there's sometimes you have to talk about the difference in games played. I get that we are splitting hairs and we say, well, here's a record that was set in 154 games in Major League Baseball versus 162, or a record that was set in the NFL in 17-game season versus a 16-game season. That I understand. Hey, we're talking about something that's close. You had 2 full seasons more to break this record, man.
With 3-point shots.
And not only that, you had more games in each regular season to break this. And yes, you had the 3. You had all of these things, and you couldn't break it. No, I don't think you got cheated out of it. I think you fell short.
You were 14 and 19 this year. Yeah. Your team stunk. This is Julius Randle tonight. Great job, good effort. What was it, the 24th 50-point game of the year 57. In the NBA?
Shut up.
That's all fine and good. You lost. Your team went 14 and 19. You're home. Congratulations on a great career. I hope you play basketball at some level somewhere in your future. Breaking a record, you know what? You'll go down as number 2. And I guarantee you, a week ago, outside of people that really follow college basketball, nobody had any idea you were that close to the record.
He'll always be number 2.
Yeah, well, look, and it's not that he didn't have a great career. He had a tremendous career. I mean,
100%.
When would we ever talk? When's the last time we talked about somebody getting close to breaking the all-time scoring record? Right? I mean, in college basketball, right? In college. I mean, never, right? So,
right.
That's a great thing. But, I feel like they want to push that, we could have played and he could have done it had other schools not called and complained about letting them in the tournament. Because the head coach, who's his dad, Mike Davis, said that, hey, they painted the picture we were trying to buy a record because they were going to spend the $27,000 to get in, but the CBI was never going to let us in because of the backlash and with everybody calling to say that. Again, that's ridiculous. What do you care about letting them in? I don't understand that. But at the same time, I think you should just say, hey, it was an unbelievable run and he just missed.
Well, right? I would say this. I care for the integrity of what your game is supposed to be. This isn't a grade school tournament where, hey, you got a bunch of people that can buy their way in to be in the field of whatever. Like, in theory, you should have some sort of resume, some sort of standards, other than whether a check's going to clear, to be in a postseason tournament in the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, you can't play the integrity card and say, hey, these teams had no integrity when you were going to say, hey, there's no way we should be near a postseason tournament, but we'll pay the money to get in just to do it.
No, but that's my point is that should not exist.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that exists at all is problematic in and of itself.
Dude, the CBI needs a way to make money, man. I mean, they need that money. They got to find a way,
Did your team, did you field 5 guys? No, my team's out there.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, you only have 4 guys? And I got Hackman over there. Yeah. I'm good to go. Let's go.
I like how it's 27,500, not like 30 grand. No, 27,500. No one's going higher than 27,500, man. That's all we can put it at to play in the CBI.
Yeah, I think it's a better number. 30 is nice and round. Nah, to hell with that. 27,500.